everyone, my name is Lovely and I will do a persuasive speech which is, should marijuana dispensaries be legal like other drugstore? To be or not to be, that is the question. Ask ourselves, should people smoke marijuana or not? What are the problems with marijuana and marijuana dispensaries? I chose this topic for society to learn how marijuana dispensaries could impact our simple daily lives. And this is the outline of the presentation. We're going to talk about why marijuana is such a big deal, marijuana use in the US, mental problems, medical problems, environmental problems, are things better with dispensaries, medical marijuana, more marijuana dispensaries, fewer marijuana dispensaries, and for conclusion, we're going to talk about what can we do. Is marijuana such a big deal? With time, people have become more and more accepting of marijuana. While it was previously considered to be sinister, Americans now to see as if they less problematic than alcohol, especially younger Americans and minorities. They see it as being less dangerous for users and having less negative impact on society. Even if marijuana isn't considered to be as bad as alcohol, we still don't want alcohol or marijuana to impact important things in our lives. While alcohol has always been easily accessible, marijuana is recently becoming more accessible for everyone as more states legalize marijuana and marijuana dispensaries continue to pop up around the country. This could lead to marijuana being such a more problem as alcohol. So we have to ask ourselves, do we really want marijuana to be as widespread as liquor stores? Marijuana use in the US. The World Health Organization conducted an international survey and found that among the major industrialized countries of the world, the United States has the highest rate of the marijuana usage. In fact, 2 out of every 5 Americans have smoked marijuana sometime in their lives. The Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration estimates the problematic use occurs in a smaller but still significant number of Americans. With about 7 million Americans smoking most days of the week, this is concerning because marijuana use creates many problems for both those who smoke it and who live in the same communities as marijuana smokers. Mental problems. Marijuana creates many short and long-term problems for mental and mental health functioning. The biggest concern people all fail to recognize is the addictive potential of marijuana. While many people claim it does not create addiction, the research shows otherwise, and the cravings and preoccupation as well as the acute effects of using marijuana can take over someone's life. In fact, nearly 1 in 5 people going in for substance abuse treatment does so because they have a problem with marijuana abuse. In addition, even marijuana doesn't cause addiction in someone, using it can make someone more likely to develop other mental disorders including addiction, depression, anxiety, and even schizophrenia. Even if someone's mental health is not impaired by marijuana, their cognitive abilities can change with its use. Chronic can use actually cause a gradual but significant decline in overall intelligence and cognitive changes, as much more likely with heavy use during adolescence. When the brain is going through many important changes that set the foundation for successful maturation into adulthood, in a more short-term, marijuana use can impact driving, changing someone's reaction time and general ability to drive, making them a greater risk to themselves and others on the road. Over 10% of high school seniors who will smoke and drive in the next 2 weeks, and nearly 20% of traffic facilities involve marijuana use. Medical problems. Marijuana also creates or impairs medical issues. Everyone agrees that smoking cigarette is a health hazard, but few people realize that smoking marijuana is even worse than multiple reasons. The process of smoking marijuana involves holding in the smoke in the extended period of time, which causes increased exposure, especially of lung tissue, to the various chemicals and carcinogens in marijuana. Marijuana also contains more cancer-causing agents than tobacco. Like, taken together, 3 marijuana joints are as medically dangerous as one entire pack of cigarettes. Environmental problems. As the impact of our physical and mental was not enough, marijuana also creates major environmental problems because marijuana is often grown illegally. Many pot farmers use sections of national forests, which tend to have lower population densities and fewer people present, making it easier to farm marijuana in secrecy. Unfortunately, this harms and kills wildlife, destroys habitat, and detracts the goals of national forests, which is conserve of our environment. When these fields are identified, it costs nearly 15,000 per store to them to restore functioning. Are things better with dispensaries? While many people can claim those peoples may only apply to illegally grown and sold marijuana, this research shows that marijuana dispensaries are no better and many worsen to the problem. For one thing, most banks won't work this organization and almost all of the transactions are done with cash, which is quite similar to how illicit drug dealers do business. In addition, the rates does not reflect a shift from illegal to legal marijuana purchases as the black market for marijuana remains strong in those states. Even worse, drug driving has increased in those states as the accessibility to legal marijuana has increased. For an important comparison, many opiate drugs have medicinal purposes, are manufactured in controlled pharmaceutical facilities, and are still abused by many people. More than 75% of this abuse is done from drugs acquired legally, and less than 5% is done by drugs acquired through the drug dealer. This would make one question by why using dispensaries would decrease the rate of marijuana use, and led to the conclusion it can only decrease it. Medical marijuana. Another important factor to consider if marijuana can even be seen as medicinal. As is this the only legitimate argument for making marijuana legal and authorizing dispensaries? The AMA admits there may be some medical value, some of the chemical found in the marijuana, but is highly resistant to the idea of marijuana plants being used medicinally, as they are not pharmaceutical grade, contain many cancer-causing agents, and can cause far more harm than good. The FDA agrees with stance while still permitting research into marijuana and specifically chemicals found in marijuana, and has already approved 2 drugs which can be taken in oral form and help with nausea and anorexia in people dying of cancer or AIDS. These forms are not risky or dangerous like botanical marijuana and are more easily regulated to make our safer and more effective medical issues. More marijuana dispensaries. Given of all the problems, let's think about what would happen if marijuana continues to be legalized in more and more states. Eventually, these businesses could be as common as liquor stores. This could create a major increase in access and use of all ages to the point where marijuana is used and abused as alcohol or nicotine. This would also mean more medical, mental, and environmental problems for smokers and non-smokers alike. On top of that the roadway should be even more dangerous, while our schools and workplaces should even be less safe and productive. Fewer marijuana dispensaries. On the other hand, imagine what it would be like if we could turn back the tide, decrease the spread marijuana legalization, or even repeal those laws and shut down the marijuana dispensaries. For one thing, the lobby for medical marijuana would have to rededicate its fund to legitimate marijuana derivatives. This would mean healthier and safer lives for everyone. So, what can you do? The medical marijuana and legalization of marijuana lobbies have a lot of money and have made major progress in recent decades. decades, pushing for increased use of marijuana throughout the U.S. However, we don't have to let these things go, and we can first of all do not just accept and permit people to use marijuana in your home. Also, make sure to educate people about the risk of problems associated with marijuana, especially since many people are informed. Did you know all the problems I told you about? Most of the people you know are just uninformed or misinformed because of the work of those lobbies. While they can spend more time and laws change, it will change the truth how dangerous marijuana really is. To have a bigger impact, reach out to your local and state politicians and make sure they also know the dangers of marijuana and help them realize just how dangerous it can be to allow marijuana to become legal or stay legal in their jurisdiction. So here's my reference. Any questions? Thank you.